Hello, it's Captain. Welcome back to Stormworks Basics. This is the Steam Tutorial Series Part 5. So today, December 8th, 2023, we got an update from the devs, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right, so it says here, fix number 22811, Steam pistons now base their power on steam pressure instead of volume. Now, this is a change, not a bad thing. It's actually working really well for me. So let's go ahead and make a couple changes so we can get the Steam system working as best as possible. So this is the example from Part 4. All we're going to do is going to make some very minor edits to this Part 4, and we'll be up and running. So this is the example from Part 4. In Part 4, if you watch that, we're making 1100 S-watts. So let's see when the pistons start here. So we're currently at 0.5, and there they go. So the pistons start at 0.5 pressure, okay, because the system is now based on pressure. Let's look at our fluid volume. This was happening last time. We are out of water. So as you can see, the water goes up, the water goes down. That's because the condenser is condensing the steam back into water, and we get it. But the issue we're going to have here is we're not getting enough liquid volume to get that power back up. So let's go ahead and take a look. So remember, last time it was 1100. So let's click on our 3 gearboxes here. So now we have a 27:1 gear ratio. And we'll take a look at it. All right, as you can see, it is at about 580. So this is the exact same model from Part 4. And in Part 4, we were making 1100 S-watts. We're now down to 580. So this seems like, oh my God, a huge nerf. It is really not. This, I think, will be better overall. And so let's go ahead and we'll make some very small edits and we'll get the power up on this system. All right, so let's go ahead and add some water. As you saw last time, the water completely runs down and we have to wait for recycling. Because we don't have extra water here, we're not able to make more steam, right? The steam comes from expanding the water. By putting more water in there, theoretically, we should be able to get some more steam. So let's go ahead and take a valve. And this isn't 100% necessary, but I like to put it on here anyways. This will just protect the condenser so that the water will go in one direction. So none of the water pressure can push back and slow down our condenser. Next thing we'll do is we'll delete this pipe there, and I'll type in pipe. And we'll grab one of these pipe angle corners, and we'll stick it right here. All right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a tank. Now, you don't need a tank this big, but this is just easy peasy to stick this on. So we're going to go here. We want to make sure we click it and put it on fresh water. Diesel is not good for steam. So we'll go ahead and we'll push this in place here, right up on that pipe. As you can see, we'll go ahead and paste it, and we'll merge it. No pumps. As you can see, I don't need a pump on here. You could do pumps, but you know, I'm going to show you right now, we don't even need it. This is just gravity feed, so gravity is going to push the water into the system. All right, perfect. Next thing I want to do here is I'm going to grab a keypad. Now, the reason I'm doing this is we're going to have to tune in a new temperature. All right, we're going to have a lot of cold water coming in. So this tank is full of cold water at ambient temperature. So whatever the heat around here is, that tank will eventually heat up to ambient temperature. If we add too much cold water into the boiler, it's going to bring down the temperature of the boiler. So we need to make sure we can tune that temp. So we'll go in here to the furnace control unit. We'll enter it. And we'll go ahead and we'll add a node. So we'll go ahead, we'll do properties. We'll drag that out. I'll do logic. We'll add a node. We'll go ahead and do number input. This will be desired temp. Desired boiler temp. Okay. So go here, we'll grab it. Now, if we look, before I put a property number, now, I already know the number. I recommend you do some tests like this. It's always the best way to do it. So as you can see, we're doing 110. Now, from my testing, 110 is not going to give us the best results. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to put desired boiler temp right there, and we'll just update that. All right, next thing I want to do here is they're already electrified, so we'll just go ahead and I'll grab this node and we'll plug it into desired boiler temp. So now we'll enter that in. So the first test we're going to do here, we're going to put in 110. 110 is what we used in Part 4. As you can see, 110. So that gave us about 580 now. Before it was giving us 1100. Let's go ahead and see what it does with some water here. Now that water is going to allow us to make more steam. So we'll go ahead and we'll hit the toggle button after we put in 110. So let's start with 110. And I'll turn the toggle button on, and I'll catch up with you guys when we're close to 100 degrees. All right, so here we go. We're coming up over 90 degrees. So last time it was about 0.5 that we started the piston. So let's see where the pistons start now. All right, there we go. We're over 100, starting to build some temp. So we're watching our pressure. That's the new system that dictates our piston power, essentially, is by steam pressure, which makes more sense realistically. And so you notice it's very slow now because we're maintaining the 110 that we did last time. There's 0.44, and we're spinning. All right, let's get them going. Let's go ahead. We'll toggle the first gear. We'll just do it slowly here so we don't shock the system and slow the pistons way down. There we go. Let's take a look at the generator. So last time it was about 580. As you notice now, we're up around, we're coming up over 700 now. We'll probably end up around up over 8. So let's just wait a minute. It's going to take some time for the pistons to start going again. That's a lot of braking for us getting those gearboxes enabled. And I'll wait for it to stabilize. So we look stabilized there. We are. So we're still climbing a little bit. Let's let it climb just a little bit more. All right, so I think we're pretty much stabilized. As you can see there, we're just over 920. We're still climbing just a hair as the steam's building up. All right, so notice now we're back up to 9-something. In part 4, we had 1100. Without doing anything, we're down to about 580. Now with doing those couple small things, we're now up to 960. So the only things we really did for this particular test right now is I added the one-way flow valve, which is not necessary, but it does make sure the flow goes in one direction. And all I really did was add that water tank. That's it. You see, we're still slowly climbing. We're up around 980. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and look at our boiler now. Notice we have a fluid volume of 171. We start with 175. We now have 171 in there, so we're able to make this extra steam because we have some water in there. So let's go ahead and look at our tank. As you can see, we have this buffer tank. It's going to, see the water goes down and the water comes back up. So as the condenser condenses the water, it will make the water volume go up. When it goes down, it's being fed in the boiler. So this feeds into the boiler as necessary. It's a little buffer tank between. It only lets the water in when it needs it. All right. So that's at 110 degrees. 110 degrees is the standard number we used last time. As you notice, we're up around 970. That's pretty much where we've leveled out. So let's go ahead, and I did some testing. This number worked best for me, 120. So that's going to give us 10 extra degrees in there. So as you notice, the temperature is going up. The water volume, the fluid volume is going down, right? We're producing more steam. Look at the pressure. The pressure is climbing. Now, the pressure will cap out at 2.5. So eventually it's going to get up around 2.5. You can play with this number with this keypad. You can make it higher or lower. You can test. You can actually visually see what it does and kind of understand the mechanics a little bit better. Then what we'll do at the end is we can disconnect the keypad and we can just put in the number we want. So let's go ahead and look there. As you can see, we're still climbing on pressure. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at our power. Oh, look at that. We're up at 1360. So you're going to see a lot of people, I think, they're going to be saying, oh, this was a terrible update. This broke Steam. Really didn't. You know, I made a couple small edits, and the first test in part 4, we're at 1100. We are now up over 1400 S-watts. So that's 300 more by just adding a tank and adding and changing the temperature to 120 degrees. We now are making quite a bit more power by doing this. So really some pretty simple changes here in part 5 to make this work with the December 8th, 2023 update. Really not a huge deal. You're not going to need all of this water. As you can see, we will slowly get up over about 1,500 S-watts. I've been testing this, so we'll get up over 1,500 S-watts. We're at 1,100 in part 4. So this was actually a positive change, I think. This makes more sense, running it in the steam off of pressure. And really, all we added here was we added a tank. We added a one-way valve. Again, one-way valve is not really necessary, but the tank is. You don't even need this large of a tank. As you can see, we're buffering about 320-ish liters, so we could actually go down in size about that much. So the series will continue. There will be some more. What are we going to do here is I'm going to show you how this is going to end up on the workbench so you guys know how it's all set up here. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to leave it as a working example. So we're going to go 120. That was the temperature that worked for me. If you want to put it a keypad, you can. I'm going to get rid of it just because it could confuse people. They might try to go work the keypad thinking it is useful, and it is not anymore. So what we'll do is we'll hook 120 back up. We'll go ahead, and I will delete the desired boiler temperature. If you want to play with that boiler temperature number, just add it back in. This will be on the workshop. So this is your model here in case you want to play with it and look at it. Hope you guys found that helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.